Hey guys, welcome back to Anderson's Garage. I'm Jim. Today we're going to talk about brake components, specifically brake fluid, how that works, and why you shouldn't have to add to it. Be sure to let us know in the comments below what you think of this video or your experience with brake systems on cars and trucks. Now, this specifically is going to cover hydraulic brakes. This isn't for large trucks with air brakes or anything like that, but hydraulic brake systems on most vehicles manufactured today and over the last 85 years. So we'll get into it. Okay, so this is one of the main components of your braking system, and they'll look a little bit different, but this is a master cylinder. This is what holds the fluid. When you press on the brake, there's a rod that comes through here and pushes this in like a plunger to force the fluid to all four corners of the vehicle. Whether you have rear drum brakes or you have disc brakes, similar to Alex's Fusion here. One thing that happens a lot is you can see there's a max line here, and the fluid level will go down below that, and you go to the oil change or you happen to look at it and somebody starts adding fluid to it. And I'm going to explain to you why that's not a great idea. So when this level goes down, the fluid has went somewhere. Now there's either a leak or your pads are really worn down and all that fluid that would normally be in here is now within the calipers, and we'll show you that. So on Alex's Fusion, this is the master cylinder. If we shine a light in behind it, you can see where I drew that Sharpie line. That's where the fluid level is right now. So here's the max and the fluid's down there. A lot of people would look at this and think that it's low. So we're gonna have Alex gently press on the brakes. We're gonna fill this caliper with fluid and expand the piston out. That's what happens when you hit your brakes. And I'll show you how that level goes down. As Alex is stepping on the brake, the master cylinder is pushing the fluid through the lines and into the caliper. You can see, if you watch closely, you can see the caliper move. There it goes. Now we'll go up here and I'll show you where it's at on the master cylinder. Now you can see, without the brake pads on, simulating if they were really worn out, how far our level has dropped down below our original mark. We're about 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch lower. That's just one caliper. So that doesn't include the rear calipers or the driver's front caliper. So if you notice your master cylinder is low, it could be that your pads are worn and that volume of fluid within the system is now in the calipers, as we've just shown you with the master cylinder reservoir. Or there could be a leak. So if there's a leak in one of the lines, let's just say it was this rubber line here, that fluid level is also going to drop. Your brake pedal is going to fade because as you push it, the fluid is going to escape the system, wind up on the ground. Now, a couple times recently, people have asked me about bleeding their brakes. You should never have to bleed your brakes unless there's a leak or you've replaced a part and allowed fluid to leak out and air to enter the system. Now, on calipers, there's always a bleeder shaped like this, and they're almost always frozen with rust, at least here in the rust belt. So you've got to heat that, maybe peen it and spray it to get it loose, and that's how you bleed it. A lot of people will just crack these open and let the fluid drip, and it'll eventually force all the air out because the master cylinder is higher than the rest of the system. So just naturally gravity will force the air onto the system. You can have somebody help you, or you can use like a vacuum bleeder. If you change just your pads and even your rear, if you have shoes in the back instead of pads, you don't have to, if you're just changing consumable brake components such as pads or shoes, you don't have to bleed the system. It's not required. This is a brake shoe. This would be normally found on the rear of a vehicle that didn't come with four-wheel disc brakes. Disc brake will be similar to this, where you have a rotor, a caliper, and brake pads. So this is for a disc brake system. Now, if you happen to have brake shoes, in the rear, you'll have something like this. This is a wheel cylinder. This is what sends the fluid out and expands your brake shoes. And you can see the difference between this and the brake caliper and the difference in the volume of fluid that these hold. So there's fluid in this cavity, and on this thing, there's just fluid right in the middle. So if you have four-wheel disc brakes, similar to what Alex does here on his Fusion, that's quite a volume of brake fluid that will be in each one of these calipers at all four corners. All right, so now we're gonna get Alex to compress this caliper, and you and I will watch the fluid rise. Okay, Alex is gonna start to compress the caliper. Nice and slow and easy. And we'll see this fluid come back up. See it rising? And there's your level. So if you're at the oil change and they say, hey, your brake fluid's low, don't let them start adding to it. That's a mistake. If you work at an oil change, stop adding to it. If it's empty, they're going to feel it in the pedal. And there's one of two reasons it's low. Either you need to replace the brake pads or there's a leak somewhere. Thanks for watching.